Hello, family. Today is March the 4th, 2019. It's 5 days before Dad's birthday on March the 9th. He was born March 9, 1934. And he'll be 85 years old this year. Today, we're going to talk about the migration of our family from Africa to where we are now in Texas and Ohio. And so we're going to start off with a couple of questions that Leslie and I are going to ask, and then Dad's going to roll with it from there. Please enjoy. The following is some research that Dad did, an overview for Leslie and Mom to read at church on this couple Sundays ago on the migration of our family from Africa and how we got to where we are today. So Dad, can you give us kind of an overview of your research that you did on the family?
Okay. My DNA report stated that my bloodline was in the countries of Cameroon. And Marge's DNA said that basically her bloodline came from Ghana and the Ivory Coast. So that was the research. Through DNA we found that out. It's updated all the time, so it kind of changes. Marge she had more of a England and Caucasian order than I did. But on my particular side, we had to start with the generation that I first knew, which was Jupiter and Kizzy. Of course, they didn't have a last name because they were slaves born in Virginia on the Ormsby Plantation. Kizzy was born in 1867. Jupiter, the notes that I found on him said 1881. So the way that I really determined Kizzy's date of birth was that her tombstone, which is located in Jamestown, Ohio, says she died at age 112 years and 3 months, and she died in February. So 3 months back would have been November of 1879. She died in 1880. So Kizzy was a slave, as it was her husband, Jupiter. They were taken to Kentucky by their owner. The owners, or the slave owners' names were Thornton. And Anthony Thornton, the first, she was born when he was a slave master. He died, and as was the way that was done at that time, their wills stated that the slaves were passed on. So Anthony Thornton II moved to Kentucky, and he took all his slaves with him. And this was in 1807.
Excuse me, Dad.
Yes.
Okay, they moved to Kentucky from where?
From Virginia. Okay. And they moved in 1807. So, in tracing our line, so I won't give all of their children that I know at this point, but tracing our line, we'll just go down through the bloodline that comes to our family. Is that right? All right? That right?
Yes.
Okay. So it'll be Kizzy. Then she had a daughter named Rose. And Rose had a son named Daniel. And these were all in Kentucky. Daniel was born in 1846. So his children, this is still in Kentucky, were the first generation out of slavery. Daniel are documented through personal notes that were kept by his last slave owner, who was Anthony Thornton II's daughter. They, of course, had been passed on by will when Anthony Thornton II died to his daughter. Her name escapes me right this second.
And where were they in Kentucky?
They were in the Bourbon County area, which where Paris is located. You all are familiar somewhat with Paris. I don't know if I ever took you all to town when we were there, where we went into town, Paris. But they lived, in the countryside, of course, because as slaves, they worked the fields. Worked the tobacco fields was the big industry. Further south was cotton, of course, but in the Kentucky area, tobacco was what was grown, as was in Virginia. So Jupiter died in 1843. Of course, Kizzy lived on. But her son, Daniel, who was born in 1846,
Take these clothes off. I'm about to